noticed there are stages in the early part of a relationship? Let's talk about that, because I want you to understand what are healthy, normal stages in a new relationship and how that information is valuable for you. So let's jump right in. I'm Dr. Sharon Eve. This is Topics in Psychology. When you first meet somebody you might want to date, or somebody that you might want to be friends with, or somebody you've just started working with on a new job, what do you show them about yourself? There are certain qualities that you want people to see in you. And there are other qualities that you have. Maybe that you can easily lose your temper when you're overtired, or sometimes you get so caught in the details of something that you can't see the big picture. We all have things that we struggle with. At the beginning, we don't typically show those, and we don't really look for them either. I'm not going to look at the things about you that might be unpleasant or not very pretty, and you do the same with me. Don't challenge me, I won't challenge you. Okay, so that can go on at the beginning, and we want to minimize differences because we love being in a relationship. We love having connection. So after a couple of months, 2-3 months, something changes. And all of a sudden, we realize the person that we're spending time with, they have qualities that we don't like. They might notice that we have qualities that they don't like. Actually, I would suggest what happens very often is there's a certain point at which people start to be really concerned that their needs are going to be met. If you see each other a lot, it may be sooner. If you see each other less frequently, that honeymoon might go on longer. If you have a long distance relationship, that honeymoon can go on for a really long time because you see each other at your best and you're excited, and then before very long, you separate and you go back to your life, they go back to their lives, and you're not together enough to start to grate on each other or develop fear that your needs aren't going to be considered. What does that mean? How do people navigate this fear that their needs are not going to be important to this person that's becoming ever more important to them? Most people aren't really aware that that's what's going on. The way it occurs is this person did something wrong, or they have this ugly quality, or there's a reason to shame them or blame them, to create distance, because you're not really acknowledging how scary it is to let yourself care about somebody more and more when you're not sure that they're actually going to care about your needs. You may have grown up in a family or had other relationships earlier on in life where whatever you felt or whatever you needed might have been devalued, it might not have been considered by the people you were close to. So that ends up being the fear and the expectation that we might have. And in some relationships, we can talk about things and listen to each other to make room for both people's set of needs. We want to know that somebody sees our needs, understands them, cares about them, and it might not match up with what their needs are, but can we find a way to consider both sets of needs? What's important to you and what's important to me? If we have those conversations and we indeed make room for that, trust builds. If your needs are not important to me and my needs are not important to you, what happens? There can be lots of yelling, there can just be silent distancing, but there's conflict. And the trust that we want to build, we don't trust that this person is a safe person and is going to care about what we have to say, what we think, and vice versa. Do we do that for them? When we get really scared, it's easy to go back to whatever old tools we have whatever is in our repertoire, our bag of tricks for what we do when we get scared, which has to do with what we project onto other people, how we see them, or things we make up about what we need to be okay, even though the other person may be someone that we can develop trust with, develop that consideration with. So in your new relationships, when you get into that period of whose needs are more important, if you have a way of talking about it and listening to each other and making sure that the other person knows that you care about their needs and that that they care, you know what I'm talking about, that you care about each other's needs, that if that happens, we slowly deepen in our love and trust with someone. It's a process. It's almost like layers of an onion. We keep opening and opening and opening. When there's trust and when there's care, when there's listening and understanding, when there's advocacy for each other, then we can deepen into our closeness with someone. And if you haven't seen the video on my stair-step theory of intimacy, check that out because it would fit in right nicely here where we are in this conversation. So if we manage to get through that time and find out that there's listening and that this is something we can relax into and trust, there may be moments where we get afraid, but then we go back to talking about it and feeling safe with each other again. And so that cycle goes on over and over again until over time we realize, oh yeah, this comes up sometimes. I know my friend, I know my partner, they know me. This is what happens. Let's talk about it, care for each other, and go on. Just like with your own kids, if you have kids, if something's going on with them, you care about what they feel and what they need. Why? Because you love them. In relationships, adult to adult, it's actually very similar. If your needs are important to me, my needs are important to you, we can grow in trust. Take care. We'll see you soon. Bye.